Pro Tem of East Baton Rouge Parish, Councilman Brandon Noel.
Thank you, Dennis. We'll call the meeting to order. Metropolitan Council meeting, Greater Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge Parish. This October 9th, 2024. Ashley, do we have a quorum?
We have a quorum.
We're going to have an invocation led by Mackenzie Montague, Jehovah Jireh Christian Academy, followed by the pledge by Kyrie Montague, Jehovah Jireh Christian Academy.
And Mayor Pro Tem, may I say at this point here, come right on up, Mackenzie and Kyrie. And I want to say that Mackenzie and Kyrie are twins. So here they are this evening to invocate you and to pledge that allegiance. Pull the mic down for them, please. All right.
Please bow your heads for prayer. Dear Lord, I would like to thank you for blessing us with another day, keeping us safe through the day, and also blessing us with children and adults. Thank you for all the council members that help our city become a better place. And thank you for this day. Amen.
Wow. Awesome.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done. All right, we're going to have adoption and approval of minutes. Approval and adoption of the minutes of the Metropolitan Council meeting of September 25th, 2024 by Council Administrator. We have a motion. Motion by Councilwoman Amorosa. Second by the Chair. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ashley, please read introductions.
Section 2.12, Introductions. Number 2, a supplemental sales tax bond resolution, amending and supplementing general sales tax bond resolution number 54430 by providing for the issuance and sale of Move BR Sales Tax Revenue Bond Series 2024 of the Parish of East Baton Rouge Capital Improvements District by Bond Council. Number 3, amending the 2024 current expense budget for the Office of the Parish Attorney so as to appropriate $15,000 from fund balance unassigned to the legal services account for the payment of the legal expenses incurred by the Registrar of Voters related to the voting assignment for annexed property currently in litigation as required by Louisiana Revised Statute 15:64 by Parish Attorney. Number 4, authorizing the Mayor President to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Baton Rouge Sponsoring Committee, Together Baton Rouge, in the amount of $500,000 to participate in a pilot solar energy program that will provide partial funding needed for 3 community lighthouses to assist the citizens of East Baton Rouge Parish during widespread power outages by Mayor President and Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Director. Number 5, amending the 2024 capital budget so as to appropriate 2024 road and street refunding bonds in an amount not to exceed $200 million and bond premiums estimated at $23,200,000 for the Move BR program and to provide for the cost of issuance by Transportation and Drainage Director and Finance Director. Number 6, authorizing the Mayor President to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Capital City Family Health Center, Incorporated DBA Care South, in an amount not to exceed $400,000 to support the development of a new geriatric and physical therapy facility in Baton Rouge to address the growing demand for specialized care for elderly patients, funded by the ARPA grant by Mayor President. Condemnation introductions. Number 7, Stephen Allen, 1770 Sora Street, Council District 2 Banks. Number 8, Ellison Shepherd, 12725 Camden Street, Council District 2 Banks. Number 9, Rosa Russell Herbert, 10365 Avenue C, Council District 2 Banks. Number 10, Sarah Moses and the estate of David Moses, 1444 Oriole Street, Council District 2 Banks. Number 11, Nell Investment Property 1 LLC, 5345 Annette Street, Council District 5 Hearst. Number 12, BRLS Management LLC, 6643 Myrtlewood Drive, Council District 5 Hearst. Number 13, David G. Keller, 5266 Lovetta Street, Council District 7 Darazan. Number 14, the estate of Thelma Williams Branch, 2636 Fairfields Avenue, Council District 7 Darazan. Number 15, Irma Turner Wall and Johnny Turner, 1694 North 38th Street, Council District 7 Darazan. Number 16, David J. Everett and Katie C. Everett, 4272 Lavere Street, Council District 7, Darazan. Number 17, Moore Property Investment Group, LLC, 2135 Pocahontas Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 18, Janetta Yvette Richardson, 2528 Sherwood Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 19, Valeria M. Sepp, 3877 Uncas Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 20, Charlie Fields, 3878 Uncas Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 21, Living Solutions LLC of Arkansas, 1513 Lori Burgess Avenue, Council District 10, Coleman. All items that require reading have been read, and a motion to introduce all items is in order.
Motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilwoman Amorosa. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to go to separate sheet for condemnations. DPW recommendations are as follows: to proceed with item 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, and 68, and 90 days on item 69. Do we have anyone here wishing to speak on any of these items? Condemnation items. Seeing none, we're going to go to council. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 60 days on 48. And 69 is working with the permits, so it's been deferred, but they're working. They have their permits. And so that can be deleted. Thank you.
Want to delete 69, okay.
Do we have a condemnation sheet?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it. Oh, I'm sorry. Is the one on Cardinal Street? Okay, number 51. We are deferred on 18. I'm gonna do one more deferral for 30 days.
Okay.
Because they too didn't know how to do the permits on.
51, 30 days.
So what day is that? What day is that?
November 13th.
Huh?
November 13th.
Okay, November 13th. Thank you.
Rest of these are good? Where were these? Okay. Everybody else good? Okay, I'm going to recap. We're to proceed with items 49, 50, 52, 53, 54, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 66, and 68. We're going to defer for 30 days items 51, 55, 65, and 67, 60 days on item 48, and delete item 69.
90 days.
I'm sorry, 90 days on item 56. We have a motion. Motion by Councilwoman Amorosa, second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We are going to jump to administrative matters before the public hearing items.
Why?
There was a request to move them up.
Bye.
Councilman Hurst, I think somebody's going to be out of town, leaving early.
I don't want to do that.
Administrative matter introduction, item A, authorizing Mayor President to execute an amendment to the professional services agreement with Jamia Shaw Bell for services to Metropolitan Council District 5, increasing the contract by an amount not to exceed $5,000 per month for the months of October 2024 through December 2024, bringing the total contract to an amount not to exceed $65,000 by Councilman Darrell Hurst. We need a motion to waive the rules so the item can be introduced. We have a motion.
I'm objecting.
We have a motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Hudson. We need to have a public hearing on the motion to waive the rules. Anyone here wishing to speak on the motion to waive the rules? Seeing none, we need a vote on the motion to waive the rules. Requires unanimous consent. Councilwoman Banks, you object?
Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to look.
Okay. We have an objection, so the item cannot be introduced. Okay, next one, item 2401347, amending and reenacting ordinance 19283, adopted June 26, 2024, which established voting precincts with wards 1, 2, and 3 in East Baton Rouge Parish, and designating polling places so as to geographically divide the following precinct: Ward 1, Precinct 56, as required by state law for precincts containing more than 2,200 active registered voters. Further, to create and designate polling places for new precincts, Ward 1, Precincts 106, and further to remove the alphabetical splits, form the following precincts: Ward 1, Precinct 56, all effective following the December 7th, 2024 election in accordance with state law by the Registrar of Voters. This is to allow the change to be made in accordance with state law. We need a motion to waive the rules. Motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilwoman Coleman. Public hearing on the motion to waive the rules. Anyone here wishing to speak on the motion to waive the rules? Seeing none, we have a vote on the motion. Is there any objection to a motion to waive the rules? Seeing none, we'll call for a public hearing on the item. Anyone here wishing to speak on the item? Seeing none, we'll go to the council. Do we have a motion? Motion to approve by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're gonna have to wait. All right. We're gonna jump to item 75 through 78. I'm sorry. Yes. Item 75, authorization for Mayor, President, and Chairman of the Airport Commission to formally request the Louisiana DOTD Division of Aviation to provide funds required to complete the airport improvements at the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport, specifically described in the Capital Improvements Program application for state financial assistance for fiscal years 2025 through 2030, and to provide $20,000 local contribution for each 100% state-funded projects listed herein by Aviation Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Moak. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 76, authorization for the Mayor, President, and/or Chairman of the Airport Commission to execute a contract with Corporate Green LLC, DBA Green Seasons, to provide full-service landscaping and irrigation system maintenance for an amount not to exceed $150,000 by the Aviation Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 77, authorization for the Mayor, President, and/or Chairman of the Airport Commission to execute supplemental agreement number 2 with Stanley Consultants, Inc. to provide construction administration services for taxiway L extension and decommissioning of runway 4R, 22L, and taxiway E in an amount not to exceed $299,823.33 by the Aviation Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, go to council. Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Moak. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 78, receiving the final report concerning the governance model prepared by Stephen Baldwin and Associates, LLC, and for the Metropolitan Council to recommend and authorize creation of the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport Authority by the Aviation Director. We'll have the report, and then we'll have public hearing. Yes, sir. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. My name is Stephen Baldwin. I'm the president of Stephen Baldwin Associates. I'm here today to deliver to you the report from the Airports Governance Committee that you all formed about, I don't know, probably close to 9 months ago, which was preceded by a compensation study for the airport. It led into a discussion to take a look at the airport's governance model and determine whether or not Baton Rouge Airport was suited to become a single-purpose airport authority governance model. What What I'd like to talk about today, and I'll try to keep it brief, I know you have a very busy agenda, is to just go over the findings of the Governance Review Committee and the recommendations of what next steps would be involved should you decide to accept the report and the resolution that follows to move to phase 2. The organizational assessment that was done for the airport looked at all aspects of airport governance and what was going on nationally. It involved dialogue with yourselves as members of council, the airport board, the business community within Baton Rouge, and the general public. Basically what the work of the governance committee found after looking at governance models nationally, looking at industry trends within airports governance nationally, doing a deep legislative review here in Baton Rouge of what could be done, a financial review of the airport, and stakeholder input. I'm going faster through my slides than the slides are, so we can catch up with those. Is that it was the unanimous decision and forwarded to you by the Airport Commission and the Governance Committee recommendation to form a single-purpose airport authority. The general benefits of the airport authority are listed up on this slide, but it basically addresses some of the inefficiencies that you have in your current model by having both an airport board that is a sort of an advisory body, but not a decision-making body, and then coming down here for final decision-making by the council. The business model within contemporary airport management today bypasses these redundancies. The authority boards are set up with the right checks and balances for public accountability because airports, quite frankly, have to be able to move at the same pace as their tenant airlines, rental car facilities, restaurateurs, et cetera, and they need to be able to move at the pace of business. So the model in the country is to move airports in that direction. I will forestate that there have been about 25 changes in governance models at airports similar to yours and larger over about the last 22-year period. And they've all been successful transitions, and none of those models have reverted back to their previous city-county governance models. Obviously, airports are more complex today to run as a business than they are a governmental entity. So one of the benefits also is with regard to the workforce. A single-purpose airport authority, once it's established, will be able to take care of its HR and personnel needs. It'll be able to have a separate pay plan for the airport workers. That was a big deficiency that came out of the compensation study. You were very disparate with regard to your compensation. It's very hard in our industry to recruit and retain competitively, and it's very important. The airport is the gateway to your community, the first thing that a business person sees when they decide if they're coming here, and you need to have a top-notch team at the airport. It's very hard to recruit that and maintain that. And so that's actually what led us down this path. It preserves the accountability. If you move to an airport authority governance model, your oversight of that airport board is preserved. This council board will make the appointments that will be your policy people you'll put in place to see over that airport operation. It promotes a greater emphasis on economic development. Right now, you're very restricted with respect to the board's ability to engage in economic development dialogue in the community or even to front an initiative for economic development. And obviously you have agencies in place that do that, but they don't have it in their radar to do that. So a single-purpose airport board, you can expect, will take a much more proactive view in this regard. And the benefit of that is it's trying to find alternative sources of revenue to try to promote jobs within the region. The airport is your biggest single economic generator in the region, and it all goes towards offsetting the price and the fees that are assessed to the general passenger and try to keep those as low as possible. Talked a little bit about economic development, and finally, in addition to be able to operate as closely to a business model as possible, it is without sacrifice of accountability. Airport authority, the way it would be structured, would require an annual report to the Metro Council from the board and the community. It would require annual audits and it would have to operate in a full governmental, transparent manner. So there's a resolution before you to authorize the airport director to move further down this path to develop and create an airport authority. The report that you have lays out some of those details and concepts. What I want to emphasize here is that resolution, if acted on tonight, is not authorizing an airport authority. It's authorizing to set it up, come back to you. You'll be part of the dialogue all along. It's a lengthy process. You'll be part of that dialogue all along, but it is a big step forward, and there will be several opportunities as we go through this process together for you to weigh in and to have a say on how this thing shapes up. So you're not making a final decision tonight. I'll keep coming back to you for a while. I do expect it will take about a 12-month process. I'm done. Questions?
Okay, we're gonna have a public hearing now. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council.
I'll go.
Councilman Gode.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Baldwin, thank you for your presentation and for taking the time to travel here to provide it. Going the route of airport authority, would you say is the trend across the country?
The changes in governance models
Yes.
over the last 20 years have by far been the predominant movement to airport authorities.
And is that typically from a local government to that model?
Yeah. In the report, I believe you have a pie chart that shows the distribution of how airport governance models throughout the nation are today and how they've transitioned over the years. I'd have to go paging through right now, but
I can do
by far, airport authorities are the predominant model. And the reason for that is that airports have just become more complex, right? 20, 30 years ago, an airport was a piece of infrastructure. You went out, you parked your car, you flew in and out of it. Airport today is different. It has its own police department, it has its own fire department, it has a TSA, it has a parking authority, it has restaurants and bars and liquor licenses and venues, and it has to be able to move to operate and keep that as a business. And you can do that under authority model.
Very good. I'll flip through the document to look at that pie chart, and I may call you over afterwards just to show it to you. That's fine. I appreciate the answer and the information.
Sure.
Councilman Don Jr.
Thank you. There are a couple of different ways airports are governed throughout the country. It's the city-county model. Obviously, we don't have counties here in the state of Louisiana. We have parishes, but we're a city-county model. There's also an independent authority model. Most city-county models have already transitioned to an independent authority or looking to do so in the near future. What this does is give the airport, its administration, its team the autonomy to move at the speed of business. Airports are so vital to a city, to a region, and is a huge economic driver. And we need the airport to be able to respond to requests from vendors, respond to the marketplace. And we've seen oftentimes where this model has been problematic to do that. I'll give you a few examples. Councilwoman Banks and others who were here before, Councilman Hudson, remember when we had the challenge to hire aviation director, and the redundancy that we had with the commission and the council and the time that it took and the time that was lost was vital, and it impacted our operations. It impacted our ability to serve our tenants as well as the customer base. Also, we've seen this problematic in recruiting and retaining talent. When you look at the airport, we're attached to City Parish Pay Plan. I know we have this pay study that's been recently released, thanks to Councilman Hurst. But it has been problematic when the airport is competing for talent. It's competing with the aviation industry throughout the country and the world, not with different departments in City Parish. So it hand ties the airport with attracting and retaining talent. Many of you remember Greg Pearson, who was our assistant aviation director. Greg was recruited away by the aviation industry and paid a salary that we couldn't compete with. It took us over a year and a half to find his replacement. Thank God we found Lewis, who was vested in Louisiana, right up the road in New Orleans, and wanted to be here, but he and Mike are vested here with young families and young kids, but the aviation industry is beckoning at their call to try to recruit them away. And if we don't do something to be competitive with retaining our talent, we're not going to have adequate staff to be able to grow and expand the airport and deliver on the new destinations and origins that you all request. It's a vital part that we're able to allow this administration to have the autonomy to operate and grow the airfield and grow the airport so we can help the airport reach its fullest potential. So I ask your support for this item. I want to thank the staff. I want to thank the consultants. Thank the governance committee, both myself and Aaron served on that, and thank the commission in itself for doing the work, engaging with all stakeholders. I want to thank all the council members who sat with the consultants, all the legislators who vetted this process and got us to this point. It wasn't just the consultants, it wasn't just the staff. This was a community involvement. The chamber, Visit Baton Rouge, they met and talked with multiple stakeholders to go over this thing. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved.
Councilman Hudson.
Well, first, Mr. Baldwin, thank you for the report. Can you explain a little bit about how the appointing process will work
Right,
under your model and how that differs from what we have now?
right. So currently you have a 13-member board at the airport. 9 members are appointed by the Metro Council and 4 are by virtue of their legislative district seats. We don't specify exactly how you should do that in the future. We do suggest in our report that the board be reduced down to a size of about 9 members. And we do that having been working with you for a couple of years now, starting with the salary compensation study, learning your community and learning a little bit about the culture of your organization. That's still a very large board for an airport this size comparatively and nationally. But that's what the recommendation is, and that's because we tailor it for everything that's going on here in Baton Rouge. How you derive those appointments will be part of the deliberative process in phase 2. We did put in the report a piece of model legislation that sets up some of the requirements of those appointments, particularly residency, qualifications, things of that nature. But these are all in the dialogue stage. These are all to be discussed. And we would not envision under any scenario that if you were to reduce the board from 13 to 9, and I'll preface that by saying you have been having problems drawing a quorum. You have some very challenging rules around that structure in your enabling legislation. Some members are subject to quorum count, some aren't, some are able to vote, some aren't. It's complicated. But the way you would deal with that is just through attrition. Like nobody would be put off the board. As you transition forward, there would be seats that would be decided to not refill when they became vacant. That's a concept. So,
Gotcha.
Yep.
So by approving the ordinance tonight, not the ordinance, but the resolution tonight, we're not necessarily agreeing to any specific appointment process or model.
absolutely not.
Gotcha.
The next step, and I want to talk about that briefly, and when you're ready, I will. Are you ready? So if you move to phase 2, you pass this resolution to phase 2, we're going to put together a little group between Metro Council administrative staff, your legal counsel, airport administration, airport board, and we're going to sit down and scope out the phase 2 process. But it begins the process of seeking that state legislative authorization to form an authority. And it begins putting together these your governing documents, which will be your articles of incorporation for an authority, the bylaws, any kind of agreements that have to be made between council and the authority, because there will be some transitional agreements. And then it goes into an application process with the FAA. At the end of the day, the FAA has to approve the whole transaction. There's interim points, milestones along that process where we'll be going back and forth between the airport board and the Metro Council to secure resolutions that are going to systematically step us through this process till we get to the point where both parties are in agreement with submitting that application to the FAA. Once it goes in, FAA gets approved, you'll have a stood-up authority for your airport.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Councilman Moe.
Yeah, thank you very much. So to my fellow council members, and I'm going to go off a little bit of what Councilman Dunn said. You know, we've worked through this process and all, but what I see this as is by the autonomy and everything else of creating its own body or whatever, it allows them to work faster. To me, not only working faster allows for the airport to be able to hire, retain, and that's stuff internally to the airport. But let's think about being competitive with airports that are around us. Lafayette, of course, we know New Orleans is an international airport. And let's all not be remiss of the fact that Livingston just opened an airport, and now that is classified as a cargo terminal right now. But we don't know what that might be in the future and everything. So allowing this, like Councilman Dunn said, allows them to operate faster, operate at the speed of business, to get things moving faster, to be more responsive and reactive to the changing needs of what the Baton Rouge Airport does. And in being able to do that and work with business partners that are around the airport and everything else, as far as those revenue streams and all, those not only tie in as far as them being able to show the airlines and the airports about what's flying in and out, but it brings in the dollars and everything for working with the airlines to reduce charges and hopefully more people to fly out of Baton Rouge instead of taking the time to drive to New Orleans and everything. So really hope y'all come on board and support this. And as Councilman Dunn said, thank you to everyone that's been involved with this and all the work that y'all have done. Thank you.
Councilwoman Banks?
Yes, Mr. Baldwin, so one of the things, there are several things, I'm the councilwoman in which the airport is one of my economic engines, if you will. And so there's several things that in the 12 years that I've been thinking about, and there are two particular incidents that I know that if it were not for a District 2 council person being able to speak on behalf of the constituents, then as it relates to the airport thing, the airport board, those things would have flown by. And so one of the things, one of the issues is that I think needs to be done is that the District 2 council person should be the council member that serves on the board as the official authority. Because what happens is that a lot of issues with the airport comes to the council member, but then we have a separate other who have their own responsibilities to the constituents. So that, and we might know it on the back end. And one is when the tire shredder was about to come to an area that would have impacted Veterans Memorial in a negative way with road construction, big trucks, tires, whatever. And that was one thing that, it wasn't necessarily the board that advocated and just talking to the administration, it's something they don't want to get into the political era. But if you're going to be an economic engine in a community, somebody has to have the backbone to do that and the responsibility. So that's one issue. Number two is the other issue that comes to mind more recently is where we just kind of dealt with a lawsuit with Saintsville Church. And, the perspective from the board was just pay them. However, as a council member, I know where that started, where it ended, how it would displace the local body, church body that are also constituents. So is there anything, I know you talked about reducing, but is there anything that lends a conversation to the importance or the advantage of having the council representative being over the entire area?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, as I said, really the policy setting for this is going to be up to this body as a whole. It's not our call to do that. There are ways that it's done in the industry, and we're here to help educate you to those. But I'll say the airport authority is still under the direct guidance of the Metro Council, because the Metro Council as a whole will make the appointments to the authority board. If you set seats aside that are for particular
I
positions,
understand that, but I know you're giving recommendations, so I was asking, is this a problem that you've seen before, and how is it dealt with? The other question is, do we still maintain where all the finance, like in every board that we have like that, we still have to approve the spending where it impacts the budget, whether it's through the airport. Is that still in place?
That's another item that will be deliberated on, but ideally, you would leave that autonomy to the authority board, keeping in mind.
Which authority board?
Airport Authority Board.
See, those are the things that
Once
concern.
it's established, keeping in mind, the airport operates on a dedicated fund. It does not rely on taxpayer dollars to run that airport.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to having elected officials on a board. Some of the pros are the connectivity they can bring that come as a result of their position. The other is that they're subject to reelection, and there can be constant change on the board, and you lose continuity.
So how does that look with other similar boards is kind of what I'm
It
asking.
usually, I'll be completely honest with you, it usually comes down to a bit of a compromise, you know? So,
Between.
what happens frequently, and what's happened in many of our transactions, are that if elected officials are allowed to serve on the board, it's usually established, there's usually a ratio of elected officials to total membership that would preempt elected officials from being able to override the board body.
Councilwoman, you want your extra time?
Yeah, please. And this was something that blew my mind the short time I spent on the airport board, where the state representatives also have like their aide or appointee.
That's what you have now.
Even though one may not vote as the other, but it still is, a picture
Right,
speaks
right,
to volumes to things.
Well, I think that the underlying goal is to have a very business-like board that is very dedicated and is solely focused on this airport and doesn't want to allow politics to enter into the fray, doesn't want to be trading off what goes down on Parks and Recreation for if you give me this out here.
So
on the
I
airfield.
agree with that,
So-
but what I see, not just necessarily in a negative way, but they just hands off when it comes to that. And so unless there is something in place in advance, and nobody's going to
Well, that'll get-
voluntarily give up any of their power, but there's nobody. Even the governance board not going to want to give up certain powers. So those are the things that this is wonderful on paper. And I was wondering, why wasn't this a discussion versus a resolution? Because there's so many ups and downs, so many things that I agree with as it relates to the swiftness, but as it relates to the governance, the spending power, the authority, all of that. That still leads to a lot more community discussion. So why wasn't, I don't know why this wasn't.
We're not making any decision along these.
I thought we were approving a resolution, no?
You're just approving a resolution to
Right.
allow this contract to go to phase 2, which is to get into the discussion you're talking about.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So this
In
is
that
all
part,
still
are
on the
there
table.
community meetings?
There will be community meetings, and there will be public hearings, community meetings.
How are those scheduled? Do you know?
No, but the very first thing we'll do in phase 2 is we'll put a playbook together and we'll map this all out, so that there won't be any surprises, and we'll take input on that,
Yeah.
so as well, so it won't be final.
Okay.
But no, we're just I guess what we're saying to you today is that I think you have very strong support and a very strong support for your airport, and you very much want your airport to be a stellar model for
Yes.
the entire state, not just Baton Rouge, is your capital. The authority model has been determined by your co-airport governance advisory board, the Metro Council, and the existing current board as the way to make that happen. Okay, so let's go to phase 2 and let's start opening up this dialogue and talking about things that we need to talk about.
Thank you very much. It brought a lot of points up.
Councilman Dunn Jr.
Thank you. Councilwoman Banks brought up some very good and interesting points. One of them I wanted to highlight is the outreach that took place, not moving forward, but to this point so far. There have been a series of public meetings with the Governor's Committee meetings. There have been a series of one-on-ones, two-on-ones, sit-downs with stakeholders. All of the council colleagues have been invited, all the legislators that have appointees or designees on the Airport Commission, visit Baton Rouge, the Chamber, and many other stakeholders have been at the table with this conversation. There's also been several public meetings that the public has been invited out to give their input, ask questions, as we are doing here today, and just vet this process. So there's already been a extensive outreach program that's been rolled out to this point, and that plans to be continued in phase 2. Speaking to the politics, and Councilwoman Banks is right, the administration has been hesitant to get involved in certain issues that may be of concern to a councilwoman like myself or Councilwoman Banks, but that's because of the politics that's attached to it. I think given the authority of the autonomy of authority, that removes some of that, and they'll be more eager to get involved. I also want to reinforce the point about the airport is self-generated revenue. The airport does not rely on the general fund or tax dollars to fund and operate the airport. That's different than many other departments within city parish government. Councilman Hudson asked about the appointments. And as Stephen mentioned, we would determine what that looks like. The term, who serves as an appointment, Councilwoman Banks, how long, things of that nature. I have consistently said at every phase, at the governance stage, at the commission stage, in our one-on-one meetings, and I'll say it here, I think we should leave the appointments alone. I understand what the recommendation is and the best practice is, but we also got to look at cultural competence. And I think the culture of Louisiana is elected officials like to keep their appointments. They don't think anybody want their appointment to be taken away from them. So I want to offer that up. I think we should leave the appointments alone and let them stay as they remain. One of the concerns, as Councilwoman Banks mentioned, something she found out with the legislators who serve on the commission, as me and Councilman Moak and Councilwoman Banks, when she served as appointees by the council, we have attendance requirements like all of our boards and commissions in East Baton Rouge Parish, where our legislative appointees are commissioners who serve, and their designees does not have attendance requirements. So they have a different standard that they have to adhere to, and that's something that we can address throughout this process. Those of us who have those attendance requirements, we think everybody should have them. We don't think just some of us should have them. So these are things that we can clean up. So these are some differences, some things, some challenges that's with the current model that we can address here. Again, I want to thank you guys for your time. I know Councilman Hurst is going to speak, but I'm going to offer up a motion to approve.
As amended.
As an amendment at the proper time.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Moak. Councilman Hurst.
I just wanted to echo Councilwoman Banks on that piece of it. So even though I was born in District 5 and I live there now, I was raised in District 2 majority of my life. And I just remember my house rattling because of the airplanes that flew over my house, and programs would come out and issues that would arise. And just like North Baton Rouge, I think it's still forgotten about now. I was forgotten about then too. And so you have to have that voice to be able to speak out and represent you when nobody else can. And so at that point in time, the council member was the one that worked with the airport to provide noise cancellation windows in the homes and other things through programming. And without that person there, they were just a minnow in a pond full of sharks. So my recommendation is to minimally make sure that the District 2 council person is there along with the state rep and senator for that area. Thank you.
You sure? All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Moak. Any opposition? As amended.
Let me get the amendment read into the record. Ashley, do you mind reading the amendment?
Yes. The amendment proposed by the airport staff and Councilman Dunn is in the resolution that's been provided to you. Section 1, the Metropolitan Council hereby receive the final report, adding and recommendations concerning the governance model and adding of the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport as prepared by Stephen Baldwin Associates, LLC, and then adding a Section 2. The Metropolitan Council hereby authorizes action taken to move towards the creation of the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport Authority.
Been properly motioned second. Any opposition? Seeing none, motion carries. Okay, we're going to go back to item 70. Establishing health insurance rates and a plan design for employees and retirees effective January 1st, 2025 by Human Resources Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilman Hurst. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 71, authorizing Mayor President to execute a dash-on impairment and payment agreement at the request of the Office of Community Development with Pamela Latrine Riley affecting Lot 62 Fieldcrest 3048 Vaughn Street, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70805 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. What a dash-on is? Sure. Mr. Aaron? I think she's going to sign it over, but we'll let Mr. Aaron.
Yeah, a giving in payment. So this person has a mortgage, and instead of us foreclosing, they're just going to give us the property back, and we forgive the debt.
Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilwoman Rock. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 72, amending the 2024 annual operating budget for the Alston St. Irma Lee Fire Protection District so as to appropriate $80,000 from the district's fund balance unassigned to general property tax for the purpose of providing funding for collection costs, unanticipated personnel costs, equipment costs, and repairs associated with the station and equipment by Alston St. Irma Lee Fire Protection District. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion?
Can I ask finance to come up, please? Angie, okay. She stepped out a minute. Oh, Angie, give you a minute. So we're talking about Alston St. Irma Lee. So Angie, when whenever a request to appropriate a change, what does finance require from the Alston or any board like this?
So on this particular item, I think they are using they just got a new property tax, and so we are allowing them to increase their budget to accommodate some of those needs from the new. Is that right?
Do they give you a shopping list or what? How do you know? I'm just trying to.
They, let me see.
Because they had a lot of concerns. The community has a lot of concerns. As a matter of fact, some were brought to me this weekend on the what they feel is a lack of accountability.
Okay. So it's additional needs on their millage that they're getting, and they currently have a fund balance of over $500,000. And so what they're asking for is things that they need to operate. So we look at it from a projection standpoint. We talk to them about their needs in the community, and then we make a recommendation.
But do you have a list? Is there a proposal that was given?
Yes.
So there,
Go ahead.
Because it's not on here.
So earlier this year, there was a budget supplement done where we appropriated some of this millage for pay. That's gone a little over, I guess based on the hours and things like that they're working. There was also an overage associated with a truck, additional cost with it, $14,500. Additional cost from radios, that was $1340. There was a bathroom remodel, electrical repairs, and other miscellaneous costs at the station. It's almost $23,000. They did get some additional radios, and we also had to include the tax cost for the additional millage.
So I don't really have an issue with it, but I think I need to defer it only because we probably need to have a meeting so that they can explain it to the community, because there is some rattling going on. And I couldn't explain it because I did not know. So if I may defer this probably for 30 days, Because there will be a meeting coming up, and I just can't remember what day Break said they were available. So I'd like to make a defer for 30 days.
We have a motion to defer for 30 days. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Hudson. Councilman Moak?
Is there anyone here from Allison? Could you, are you able to speak on any of this? Okay, are you up to date on any of this information that she might be requesting or anything?
Come to the mic and talk, please, sir.
Yes, please. I just don't want to hold up your funding or something if we have people here that can speak on what she's asking about.
Right. So there was unexpected costs due to repairs to trucks, getting new equipment that was necessary for the department. We had to purchase new.
And I want you to know I don't have a problem with it. These came up this week.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. The chief wasn't able to be here tonight, but he they asked me to come just in case you had any question about
He was
it.
there.
And she was right about all the information that she gave you on the cost, and it was due to also it wasn't expected for I guess the millage came about, and so more work was done with employees and giving more hours that due to the fact that we had a rating due for this year, so we had work extra hours on that time too.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly was equipment too that caused the problem. Then we had unexpected costs of AC going out, just things that went not so for
I totally understand, but you've been in the community a long time. You know how it is.
Yes, ma'am.
And so this is clearly just a matter of making sure that.
Hey, Sean,
I'm so sorry.
I apologize. Sorry. Can I have finance come up? Thank you. If you want to. Okay. I think one of you or Angie had mentioned a second ago that are these funds that they already have and we're just moving them?
So there is an additional 10 mills that was approved, and 24 is the first year for that.
So they won't collect, they've already started collecting?
They will collect it when the tax bills go out at the end of this year.
Okay.
So it was not budgeted for at the time because it was not approved, but it has since been approved.
So we're doing this based on anticipated revenue from the new tax millage that they got?
Correct.
So they'll have the money there appropriated to their budget, and they can go ahead and get this work done or catch up with what they need.
Right.
And I respect what Councilwoman Banks saying. If there's questions and everything that need to be answered, and we can do that, but we're not going above and beyond what they're due collecting and or their budget themselves.
Correct.
Okay. I'd like to make a substitute motion to go ahead and approve so they can get their stuff done. And then I'll be more than happy to work with Councilwoman Banks and have public discussion about what some concerns might be. But I think we need to go ahead and let them go ahead and function and operate on what they're getting.
We have a substitute motion to approve the item. We have a second. Second by Councilwoman Amorosa. We're going to vote on the substitute motion first. So we have a motion and a second. Does anybody object to the substitute motion?
It's not
Councilman
that big.
Hunt?
I just know how they are. You're not going to get the heat.
So we have an objection.
All right, council members, we're going to open the machines. The machines are first going to be open on the substitute motion to approve item 72. No. Motion carries.
Item 72, amending the 2024 annual operating budget for the, Item 73, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Baton Rouge Police Department to renew, enter into a professional services contract with Motorola Solutions, Inc. for the annual subscription cost of the Command Center Aware program. Estimated compensation of the agreement will not exceed $63,860 annually and not to exceed $319,300 over the 5-year life of the subscription by the police chief. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilman Moak. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 74, authorizing Mayor President to renew the Raising Cane's River Center rental waiver agreement with Visit Baton Rouge and ASM Global for the period January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2028 by the Mayor President, Visit Baton Rouge, ASM Global, Raising Cane's River Center. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Ms. Jill Kidder.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Appreciate that. And thank you, council members. Please approve this renewal. This rental waiver agreement between us has been in place since 2006. It has been extremely successful in our efforts to recruit events and programming for the River Center. We take real caution and care with how we administer this and give this rental waiver out. Since 2021, together with ASM, we have used this agreement successfully to recruit over 30 different organizations that we have competed with other cities against who wanted the same events and programming. And these 30 events alone have produced over $47 million in direct spending for our areas. So it has worked. And without this tool, I really can tell you that we would have lost a great deal to our competitors. And especially now, between now and the time that we redo this center, we are going to need this more than ever. So we're asking you to again, renew this rental waiver for us. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this?
Hi, Wayne Hodis, the general manager of the Raising Cane's River Center. Obviously, Jill and I agree on this, and it's an extremely useful tool. In the past 3 years, there's been almost 130,000 attendees that have come from, whether it be out of state or out of the city, that stayed in our hotels, which generated revenues for hoteliers, restaurants, gas stations, et cetera. And the rental waiver is something that allows us to compete because other regional communities have a little bit of a leg up because they can offer free surface parking. We cannot, and that's understandable because the parking garages are a revenue generator for the city. But it also, to an extent, is a deterrent for us to try and get these organizations to come here. So by allowing us to utilize the rental waiver, it gives us another thing to combat what other cities are doing in our region to get those conventions here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 74.
Go to council. Motion by Councilman Moak, second by Councilwoman Coleman. Anyone, any opposition? Motion carries. Go to item 79. Authorizing Mayor President to accept funding from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services for the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program in the amount of $1,083,514 by the Human Services Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 79.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilman Moak. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposition? Motion carries. We're going to take items 80 through 85 together. Authorizing the Mayor President to amend a subrecipient contract with Volunteers of America, South Central Louisiana, the amount of $387,000 for a total award amount of $1,070,000 under the Ryan White Ending the HIV Epidemic Program by Human Services Director. Authorizing the mayor president to amend subrecipient contract with Our Lady of the Lake, Inc. for increase in the amount of $190,297 for a total amount of $549,981 awarded under the Ryan White Ending the HIV Epidemic Program by Human Services Director. Authorizing the mayor president to amend the subrecipient contract with No AIDS Task Force for the Ryan White Ending the HIV Epidemic Program for an increase in the amount of $144,375 for a total award amount of $498,961 by the Human Services Director. Authorizing the mayor president to amend the subrecipient contract with Capital City Family Health Clinic for an increase in the amount of $215,050 for a total amount of $703,675 awarded under the Ryan White Ending the HIV Epidemic Program by Human Services Director. Authorizing the mayor president to amend the subrecipient contract with Family Services of Greater Baton Rouge for an increase in the amount of $207,275 for a total amount of $611,420 awarded under the Ryan White Ending the HIV Epidemic Program by the Human Services Director. Authorizing the mayor president to amend the subrecipient contract with HIV/AIDS Alliance for Region 2 for an increase in the amount of $344,185 for a total amount of $1,009,250 under the Ryan White Ending the HIV Epidemic Program by the Human Services Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on items 80 through 85?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to items 80 through 85.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Coleman. Do we have a second? Second by Councilwoman Darazan. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 86,
Brandon.
authorizing mayor president. Yes.
Show me abstaining from 85.
Oh, show Councilman Dunn Jr. abstaining from item 85. Item 86, authorizing mayor president to amend the professional services contract entered into effective February 1st, 2022, by and between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, on behalf of the Office of Community Development, and Glenna Gauthier, doing business as Gauthier Emergency Management, and staff, increasing the contract by $6,666.66, not to exceed $221,666.66 by the Mayor's Office of Community Development. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 87, authorizing the mayor president to execute a contract for abstracting services with the Guy Land Title Services LLC for abstracting services associated with the East Baton Rouge Flood Risk Reduction Project, Upper Jones Clearing and Snagging, and an amount not to exceed $62,640 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 88, authorizing mayor president to execute a contract for abstracting services with Gulf South Land Title Resources LLC for abstracting services associated with the East Baton Rouge Flood Risk Reduction Project, Lively Bayou and Tributary Clearing and Snagging, in an amount not to exceed $77,262 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 89, authorizing settlement of the claim of Emily Delorge for damages resulting from sewer backups in claimant's residence for a total amount of $14,104.49 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 90, authorizing settlement of the claim of Enterprise Rent-A-Car for damages resulting from an auto accident caused by Baton Rouge police officer in the amount of $15,777.16 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 91, authorizing mayor president to execute supplemental agreement number 1 for the engineering services with SJB Group LLC for location of utilities associated with East Baton Rouge Flood Risk Reduction Project, Amite River, and Tributaries Watershed in the amount not to exceed $4,477 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 92, authorizing Mayor President to execute supplemental agreement number 1 for the engineering services with FJB Group LLC for location of utilities associated with the East Baton Rouge Flood Risk Reduction Project, Amite River and Tributaries Watershed Flood Risk Management Project, Jones Creek Clearing and Snagging, in an amount not to exceed $35,191 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to take items 93 through 98 together. Gentlemen, y'all want to step on side if y'all have a conversation? Thank you. Items 93 through 98. Authorize Mayor President to execute supplemental agreement number 1 with Apex Engineering Corporation for services associated with the Move BR Capacity Project, Nicholson Segment 1, in an amount not to exceed that's Brightside to Gurrier, an amount not to exceed $27,591 by Transportation and Drainage Director. Item 94, authorizing Mayor President to execute a supplemental agreement number 2 for utility relocation services associated with the Move BR Capacity Project, Ben-Hur Nicholson realignment, an amount not to exceed $118,389.60 by the Transportation and Drainage Director. Item 95, authorizing Mayor President to execute a supplemental agreement with EDS Inc. for services associated with the Move BR Capacity Project, Perkins Road, Segan Lane to Pico, in an amount not to exceed $7,785 by the Transportation and Drainage Director. Item 96, authorizing Mayor President to execute a supplemental agreement number 2 with Infinity Engineering Consultants LLC for services associated with the Move BR Capacity Project, Jones Creek Road, Tiger Bend to Airline Highway, in an amount not to exceed $34,316 by the Transportation and Drainage Director. Item 97, authorizing Mayor President to execute a supplemental agreement with Pivotal Engineering LLC for services associated with the Move BR Capacity Project, Hooper Road, Blackwater to Jor, in an amount not to exceed $23,736.65 by the Transportation and Drainage Director. Item 98, authorizing Mayor President to execute a supplemental agreement for professional engineering services with Intelligent Transportation Systems LLC for additional services associated with the Move BR enhancement projects, Lobdell Avenue, Goodwood Boulevard, and Lobdell Seven Oaks Avenue intersection pedestrian improvements, in an amount not to exceed $26,400 by the Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on items 93 through 98? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilman Gode, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 99, amending Resolution 58003, adopted on July 24, 2024, awarding the contract for West McKinley Street, Astor Street area ADA transition project to Grady Crawford Construction in an amount of $361,258 to the correlated low bid amount of $361,268.80 by the Transportation and Drainage Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 100, authorizing Mayor President to authorize a no-cost amendment of the Public Services Subrecipient Agreement entered into June 1st, 2023, by and between the City of Baton Rouge and Parish of East Baton Rouge on behalf of the Office of Community Development and Communities Healing and Nurturing Growth through Edification by the Mayor's Office of Community Development. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilman Moak. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 101, authorizing Mayor President to amend the professional services contract into effective February 1st, 2022 by and between City of Baton Rouge and Parish of East Baton Rouge on behalf of the Office of Community Development and Deborah G. Holden, increasing the contract by $26,666.64, not to exceed $239,999.98 by the Mayor's Office. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr., second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Adjudicated properties. Just the one. Lot 15, Square 32, Subdivision South Baton Rouge, Metro Council District 10, Coleman. High bidder John D. Farmer, $600. Do we have a motion? Oh, sorry. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposed? Motion carries. Appointments. I'm going to, Capital Area Finance Authority, concurring in the Mayor President's replacement of Helena Cunningham, who has resigned, 6-year term effective October 9th. Current ballot, DeMarne Rutledge. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council.
Motion to appoint Mr. Rutledge.
Second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Rutledge. Item 104, Complete Street Citizens Advisory Committee. One appointment to concur in the nomination by the North Baton Rouge Chamber of Commerce. Appointments for a 4-year term. Current ballot, Charles Daniel. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Coleman. Second by the chair for Charles Daniel. Anyone opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Daniel. Item 105, Alcohol Beverage Control Board, consideration of replacing Walter Gino McLaughlin, who resigned. Term expires December 31st, 2026. Current ballot, Jason Jacob, Kendall Milo, Daniel Rodriguez. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council.
Mayor Pro Tem, I want to make the motion to nominate Jason Jacob, please, or appoint Jason Jacob.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Amorosa, second by Councilman Hudson to appoint Jason Jacob. Councilman Moak.
I'd like to put Mr. Kendall Milo up for appointment also.
All right. We're going to run the ballot. We're just going to vote on the ballot. You want to?
Well,
I just wanted to invite any of the candidates that are here if you want to come up and speak and introduce yourself.
Jason Jacob, 4652 Fallwood Drive, Baton Rouge. Many of y'all know me. I served 12 years on the Library Board of Control, so I'm back again to see if take a shot at the ABC board and see what I can do there. So.
Anybody else? All right, council members, we are going to first open the machines for Jason Jacob. Just as a reminder, you can only vote for one person in the first round, and you do not need to vote no. You just need to vote yes if you want to vote for the person. The machines are now open for Jason Jacob. Two votes. The machines are next going to be open for Kendall Milo. Machines are open. Seven votes. Kendall Milo has been appointed.
Congratulations, Mr. Milo. We're going to take items 106 and 107 together. NWWTP Large Diameter Pipe Rehabilitation, contractor NCMC LLC, change order amount, credit $16,779. Sales tax, street and road rehabilitation program project 18-2 Tiger Bend and Streets in Oak Hills Place Park and Highland Shadow subdivision, contractor R.J. Daigle & Sons Contractors, change order amount, credit 29 cents. Items 106 and 107. Anyone here wishing to speak on these items? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilman Dunn Jr. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Hudson. Motion carries. I'm going to take 108 and 109 together. NWWTP Large Diameter Pipe Rehabilitation Contractor NCMC LLC, final cost $980,221. Item 109, Sales Tax Street and Road Rehabilitation Program Project 18-2 Tiger Bend and Streets in Oak Hills Place and Park and Highland Shadow Subdivisions, contractor R.J. Daigle & Sons Contractors, Inc. Final cost $3,594,149.36. Anyone here wishing to speak on these items? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion on final acceptance. Motion by Councilman Hudson, second by Councilman Dunn Jr. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, acceptance of low bids. We're going to take items 110 and 111 together. Item 110, Sales Tax Street and Road Rehabilitation Program Project 19-3, Streets in Hermitage and Lexington Estates neighborhood areas. Low bid R.J. Daigle and Sons Contractors, $2,166,192.25. Item 111, Blue Bonnet Boulevard Mid-Block Pedestrian Crossing Project. Low bid Diamond Electrical Company, Inc., $259,713.20. Anyone here wishing to speak on items 110 and 111? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Goday. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 112. Discussion of anti-discrimination and equal opportunity policy in the plan of government for the parish of East Baton Rouge Parish, inclusive of the purpose, scope, prohibitions, reporting, investigation, and resolution by Councilwoman Banks. This item was deferred from July 24th, August 14th, and September 18th.
I'm not sure if Kim is here. I know she had some family illness. You here, Kim? Okay. You was hoping I deferred it again?
We're going to have a report, and then we'll have the public hearing.
Right. If you just give a report, what you found.
Well, Councilwoman, you requested information about what our anti-discrimination policies at the city were, and I sent you a copy of the anti-discrimination policy that exists at the city. It is a non-discrimination equal opportunity policy. It applies to all city parish employees, but it would not apply to board and commission members, which was your interest, I believe.
Yeah, and you were to see what that wording would look like based on if there were any other municipalities, or what the wording would look like, and if in the discussion, basically, if there is there a need whereas it should include.
I don't believe that we could include it in this particular policy, but my suggestion to you in an email would be that if you wanted to include board and commission members, you could do a resolution and ask the council to pass a resolution indicating that they wouldn't discriminate against anyone in choosing board and commission members.
And the resolution basically is kind of like a feel-good, right?
Yes, it would be.
So in the work, when would you tell what is listed as the discrimination and whether or not that could be used, that same wording? I know it could not be under employment, but as it relates to boards and commission, would that be a separate item under the plan of government?
Well, if you want to amend the plan of government to include it, then you're going to have to go through a whole nother process.
Sure. Well, those are the things I wanted you to discuss.
Well,
the options.
And that's why my option to you when I sent you the email was that you do a resolution, because that's the easiest thing for you to do.
It just has no teeth.
So if you want to amend the plan of government, that's a whole nother.
What are the other options
process
that would have teeth is what you're.
Other than the resolution?
Because so you're saying the resolution does have teeth or doesn't?
No, other than the resolution, that is really your option unless you want to amend the plan of government, which again is a whole nother
Sure. We're
process.
kind of going through that.
I did indicate to you in my email, and I'm just reading it because I have not been here most of the day today. We do have a Louisiana Commission on Human Rights and statutes that allow parishes and municipalities to adopt and enforce ordinances regarding discrimination. So it allows you to form a committee and present those things to the committee and have the committee vote on them, and that might be something that you might want to suggest to the council, to create a committee to study this, study other municipalities, and see if they could come up with an ordinance that might be amenable to the council.
Right, and in our discussion, did you find any municipality? That was really the gist
I found
of.
one.
Okay.
I found one municipality that had a ordinance. I don't know. I don't remember if it's an ordinance. It's just a policy that talked about anti-discrimination and board and commission member appointments. And I believe that I sent you, that was the language that I sent you in my email, which indicated you might word a resolution in that manner.
So Kim, I really appreciate that you sent me the emails, but everything was really based on a discussion item for the council, not just for me, because I wasn't really interested in taking an action at this time. So it was really a discussion item, whether based on what you found, what your research indicated. And so I know you keep referring to emails, but I figured that's just FYI that was not in substitution for you making a presentation that gave all the information.
Well, our job at the parish attorney's office is really to answer legal questions.
Right.
And so I was trying to give you an example of how you could deal with that issue if you wanted to. And my
Right.
suggestion to you was a resolution or
Yeah.
the committee member or trying to pass an ordinance. It wasn't my intention to give a presentation to the council because you were the person who had the question.
Yeah, so I don't know. So
Shauna, let's do this.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and we're
Just
gonna
receive it?
We're gonna receive what we can,
Okay.
and then we're gonna have a public hearing, and then you can
Okay.
have your time.
So let's just, yeah, cause I didn't mean to
Well,
have,
let's-
I didn't.
No, I know.
Yeah.
You'll have your time, but let's go ahead and anything that you wanna give to us on what you researched, I think would be appropriate.
And the only thing, and like I told Councilwoman Banks, and over the various months that I've been doing this, is there are no other policies in Louisiana. There are no other ordinances in Louisiana. Nothing that covers board and commission members, except for the one place that I found, which was Chandler, Arizona, I believe. And the wording that I sent in my email, which indicated their policy states that it's the objective of them not to discriminate when choosing board and commission members. That's what their language says. So, but theirs is a policy, just like I said, you should pass a resolution. Again, less teeth than an ordinance, less teeth than a committee that you might put together to suggest an ordinance that the council could pass.
Thank you. I'd like to make.
Okay, well, hang on. Okay, anyone here wishing to speak on this item from the public? Seeing none, we're gonna go to council. Councilman Goday.
Thanks. You referenced at the start of your presentation, I believe, an East Baton Rouge anti-discrimination and equal opportunity policy.
Yes, sir.
Is that contained in the plan of government, or it's an administrative policy?
It's an administrative policy.
Falls under our Human Resources Department?
It does.
Okay. I was not clear if you were quoting from the plan of government. I just wanted to make sure
No,
I was
sir.
clear on it. All right. Thanks, Kim, so much.
Councilman Moat.
In your definition or answers to some of these questions about the boards and commissions, in any of the search that you did and stuff, does it have any definition or acts of discrimination, or how you would determine discrimination on a board and commission? I mean, I'm looking at this from a board and a commission comes before this council. We, just like we did for ABC and the others just now, and we vote. Let me ask you this, under your opinion, if you did an ordinance based saying, if you did an ordinance, would you have to describe and base what discrimination exactly would be called out? Or even if with an ordinance or a resolution in place, could at any point discrimination be called?
Well, if you pass an ordinance, you should be as specific as possible every time.
About
it's a
what
law.
discrimination is.
Exactly.
So if a vote doesn't go a certain way or something like that, discrimination could be called upon?
Well, anyone can say anything.
Understood. And that's what concerns me. I agree with you on the resolution and policy and stuff like that, that we should not, and no one ever should discriminate against anyone for any reason. And we're not talking about just race or gender or whatever else. If the person's qualified, they're qualified.
And a general policy indicating that, for instance, boards and commissions are open and available to all segments of society, including people of all races, nationalities, creeds. Yeah, you can use a general diversity language in the policy.
Correct. Okay. Thank you very much.
We have a motion to accept the report, second by the chair. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to jump to emergency item number 114, receiving an update from the Department of Human Resources and the administration regarding the next steps in furtherance of the pay study, including consolidation of positions and restructuring benefits by Councilman Darrell Hurst. Reason for the emergency is in order to move this process forward as quickly as possible. In accordance with the ordinance 16422, this item must be declared an emergency by 2/3 vote of the Metropolitan Council. Do we have a motion to declare this an emergency?
Motion to delete.
So we don't have a motion to declare it an emergency? All right. Motion cannot be heard.
Need to reconsider an item, please.
Hang on, let's go to number 113. Receiving a report from Theo Richards and CATS board representatives on what's going on at CATS by Council Administrative Treasurer. We're going to receive the report first, and then we're going to go have a public hearing.
I don't know what it. Reconsider, but I don't know at what point you want to do.
Okay. I think Darrell has to go. Is that what we're doing? Okay. Excuse me, 1 minute.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider administrative item, but I think I threw it away.
Okay. We're gonna have a request to reconsider item A 2401348, administrative matter, authorizing mayor president to execute an amendment to the professional services agreement with Jamila Chabelle for services to Metropolitan Council District 5, increasing the contract by an amount not to exceed $5,000 per month for the months of October 2024 to December 2024, bringing the total contract to an amount not to exceed $65,000 by Councilman Darrell Hurst. Motion to waive the rules to allow items to be introduced. Do we have a motion to waive the rules? We have a motion by Councilman Hurst, second by Councilman Hudson. We're going to have a public hearing on the motion to waive the rules. Is anyone here wishing to speak on the motion to waive the rules? Seeing none, we're going to have a vote, and it requires unanimous consent. Is anyone opposed to waiving the rules?
Sure, I am.
We have opposition, so the motion cannot be introduced. Moving on, item 113, receiving a report from Theo Richards and CATS board representatives on what's going on in CATS. We have to receive the report, and then we'll have the public hearing. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Melissa DeGeneres, 2923 McCarroll. I'm serving as president of the CATS board this year, and I have a presentation. Oh, we're queuing up. All right. See, I have to shake it up a bit. So we're going to actually visit space and science fiction. So we are going to introduce our cats and make a presentation to you. Could you go to the next slide, please? Our board has kind of been at the Starfleet Academy, and we have been facing our challenges head on. Some of our advancements are we have hired a permanent CEO. We had 3 members attend the APTA conference and our liaison. We have really strengthened our financial oversight, and I think that Theo will speak on our results of our annual audit. Governance and compliance. I know Commissioner Coleman and I are definitely 2 people working on making sure that that is covered. Performance monitoring, we've kind of streamlined. Instead of giving the same information every month, we're asking for new information or maybe quarterly updates. This one is very important to me, risk management, because I think it's so important that the Board of Governors actually governs and manages risk. And board development, we're going to have a little get-together later on this year and do some governance training. Our next steps and what I see for the next year is that we need to do strategic oversight. We need to not be in the operations. We need to move strategically. Resource allocations, and that includes people and resources. Develop financial internal controls. We did have weaknesses that we have worked on, but there's still more to be done. And I think every organization should have a succession plan. Next slide. We may not be the guardians of the galaxy, but we are guardians of the CAT's assets. And what we need to do is instill that we have a fiduciary responsibility. We have to follow the legal and regulatory compliances. We have to have ethical oversight, strategic oversight, risk management, again, very important, and resource allocation. So you can kind of see what we're moving our board to be a governing board. And it's really a very good first step that we've made. Next slide, please. Yoda. All right. I think diversity is very important. I think that our board has a very good diverse background, men, women, ethnic diversity, education, and multi-generational. We're not all young and we're not all old. So I think that's covered. The next slide, the matrix. And this is the most important slide for this presentation, so everybody pay attention. A board is like a football team. You know, you have to have different people in different positions to be able to function at a high level. We have a committee structure of finance and executive, community, policies and procedures, planning, which I want to change the name to planning and strategic planning, and audit. I think you agree with that one? Now, I have 9 players. And so what we have to do is find out where everybody is best suited. And I need community activists, engineers, policymakers, governance experts, and audit or business or accounting backgrounds. When I get new board members that y'all give to us, then we have to find a place for them in this. If I need diapers and you give me formula, you haven't met my need. And I need to fill up these committees with the strongest people possible. So by the end of the year, we will know who's going to be coming back on our board, what areas of weakness we have, and what spots we need to fill. So I will, get with the executive team and we will let you know that we are looking for 1 accountant, 1 community, and 1 engineer. That will give you tools instead of just having whoever that system is that evaluates us and gives us people. So we need your help with that. And for my final slide, back to the future. And I am very optimistic, and with the Metro Council giving us very strong board members, which I think we have done, we are able to grow, develop, and problem solve. Before I leave, are there any questions? Well, no, I'm going to introduce Theo. He's my other half.
Okay.
But if y'all had a question for me. Okay, guess what? Live long and prosper. And I would like for y'all to meet, well, y'all all know him, Theo.
Good afternoon, council members. If we can go back to that presentation. Unfortunately, I don't have the fun part of this presentation as Commissioner DeGeneres did. I'm just here to read you the numbers and tell you what we've been doing and where we're going. The meat and potatoes of capital area transit system. You can go to the next slide. First, I'd like to extend my gratitude to the hardworking team at CATS. I'm truly blessed to work alongside over 225 dedicated transit professionals. I'm proud to report that we've already surpassed our ridership for 2023 within the first quarters of that's actually should be reversed. We've actually surpassed our ridership for 2023 in the first 3 quarters of 2024. We're really excited about that. In all ways, we continue to see a rise in our paratransit services. Right now, we've completed over 55,000 trips year to date, and since May, we've seen an 11% growth. Keeping in mind that our paratransit services are our most vulnerable individuals in the community, that we truly give a door-to-door service. And also to put in perspective, in the year of 2023, we had about 1.1 million rides, and we've already surpassed that going into our 4th quarter. So we're really excited about the continued growth. CATS now operates over 100 vehicles, which includes 60 traditional 35-foot biodiesel buses, 15 electric buses, and we do anticipate receiving 9 additional electric buses in 2025. You can continue on. Financially, I'm pleased to highlight that our 2023 audit is complete and we had only 1 finding. This is a significant improvement from 2022, where we had 5 findings. It's to continue to support and show how our team is dedicated to ensuring that we have financial integrity within the agency and that we're using the taxpayer dollars to the best of our ability. Next slide. We're also committed to ensuring that all of our stops are safe and accessible for our customers and community. We've completed a full evaluation of all of our stops and are now available on our website. We're working to reduce the number of stops that are in unsafe location. With the reduction of those stops, we'll be installing bus pads as well as amenities such as shelters and benches were warranted by our service standards. Our goal is to have this at least 10% of these upgrades completed by the year end. Next slide. Looking ahead, we've undertaken a comprehensive operation assessment known as SmartCats. This 10-year service and operations evaluation assesses our fixed route bus system to improve the quality of service, optimize routes, and ensure efficient funding allocation. The first phase of SmartCats will launch in January 2025 and will be implemented in phases over the next 3 years. As phase 1, we're introducing 4 new routes, one being Be Rapid. I'm quite sure you're familiar with the Plank Road Nicholson Bus Rapid Transit, which is going to be a 9-mile corridor connecting North and South Baton Rouge. The project is a collaboration between CATS and the city parish government and is supported by federal and local dollars. These improvements, along with optimized travel times for existing routes, will enhance transit connectivity across the region. Next slide. CATS is also making a significant commitment to our capital projects. We're implementing a fast fare system, which is a GenFare all-in-one customizable fare box that will simplify the boarding process, provide real-time reporting, and truly open up a true open payment for our customers. So similar how when you go to a store, you can use your phone to tap and go, we'll have that capability for our customers as they're boarding the bus. This project is set to begin in December 2024 with a timeline of 3 to 6 months for completion with an investment of about $1.5 million. Additionally, we're truly excited about the North Transit Center at 5275 Airline Highway, adjacent to the North Our Lady Lake Emergency Room. We're expected to have this project completed in 2025. The facility would serve as a transit hub with state-of-the-art amenities, real-time bus tracking, 8 bus bays, with a total investment of about $4.1 million. In closing, I want to reiterate our commitment to providing safe, reliable, and innovative transit solutions for the Baton Rouge community. With the focus of improving accessibility, expanding our services, and maintaining financial responsibility, we're working hard to meet the evolving needs of our riders in our city. We're excited about the future and the arrival of the electric buses, the capital improvements like the North Transit Center, and the implementation of SmartCats, which would bring long-term positive change to our system. Together with your continued support and the dedication of our incredible team at CATS, we're driving forward towards making a more connected and accessible Baton Rouge. Thank you for your time and your attention today, and we look forward to continuing our work to make public transit a key part in our city's future.
Thank you so much. Is anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilman Moat.
Yeah, I just have to say, best presentation ever. I mean, great job on that. Yes, both of y'all, great job on the information. I mean, obviously from your presentation and everything that y'all said, and what CATS is looking forward to. I mean, logic obviously dictates that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And that's what y'all are doing for East Baton Rouge Parish. I do have to say that, you know, we came onto this council and the many things that were going on with CATS. I mean, to the point that this council formed a committee, really looking into everything, and to see the work that y'all have done in working together and these numbers here and so on, I just commend y'all.
Thank you.
Ms. Carolyn, I know she's on that board also. I think y'all are doing great. One thing I do want to bring up and point out is one of the things that you actually brought up as far as qualified board members and stuff, and working with us on getting people on the board that can take different positions and everything. You know, in our plan of government change that we have coming up, one of the things that's in the plan of government is to set qualifications for board members for different groups and organizations and things like that. So hopefully that will help y'all out in all the boards and commissions that we can do, that the council will be set forth to make qualifications for different boards and commissions. So, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Can I respond to that? The vetting process for CATS, we're rated on a certain system, and if you're an engineer, you get extra points. But you can't give me 9 engineers. So we have to change whatever, the way that y'all are vetting us to find out what we need and not give extra points for a certain thing that you think we need.
Correct. No, I totally get it. And that's what in this plan of government change is we can set standards and things like that for different boards. So we find qualified people that, I mean, look, we've got a lot of boards and commissions and a lot of qualified people. We got a lot of great people that are serving on boards and commissions. We vote on them all the time. But this gives an application process that for different organizations and all, it may benefit your organization as far as pre-qualifying and stuff like that for certain positions or certain board seats and things like that. So I think that would help y'all out a lot. But overall, congratulations on y'all's exceptional work that y'all have done, and please keep it up. One thing I would like to be clarified on is this rapid transit. I think it's one thing that I have to say. Exactly what makes it, I think the public wants to know, what makes it a rapid transit? You're still a bus in traffic, you're still so on. Is it a coordination between signal lights and the buses that moves it faster, or what gives it its designation as rapid transit?
No, that's a great question. So typically with bus rapid transit, you'll see that it has its dedicated lane. We're introducing a modified bus rapid transit, which means that when it gets to the stations along the corridor, which there'll be 22 on each side, so 44 complete, it'll be level boarding. Right now, when you get to a stop, the bus has to kneel, has to allow the passenger to board, takes some time. And then also there'll be a fare-free ticket, so it only get tickets at the station. When they get on the bus, they'll be able to tap on these new fare boxes and be able to board, and which also speeds up the boarding process time. Yes, thank you. And then most importantly, it's going to have 15-minute headways. This system is going to be dedicated with 9 electric buses. So during peak times, you'll see 15-minute buses coming every 15 minutes up and along the corridor.
Okay, so the main component of the rapid transit is the dedicated lane part?
Well, unfortunately, we will not have the dedicated lane, but having those other features integrated will speed up the boarding process, which and then in turn you'll see the rapid transit coming along the corridor. Right now, we don't have level boarding stations, and then right now when people board the bus, they have to fumble with change of bus passes. All those factors play a part into increasing the actual boarding process time and ensuring that the buses can stay on time.
Now, this is the first one in Louisiana.
That is correct. Yes, sir. This is the first one in Louisiana.
How does this compare to other bus rapid transit systems in maybe the next comparable city or something like that? Have we...
So Birmingham is what we consider to be our peer city.
Okay.
They also have a modified bus rapid transit service in which they share the streets currently with the flow of traffic. They've had some issues, but then they've also seen an increase in their ridership, and then also they've seen their on-time performance increase.
So they've seen the increase in ridership, but have they seen the increase in destination times and stuff like that? I think that's, to me, when you say bus rapid transit, you're giving people a reason. Yes, please. you're giving people a reason to ride because it's just more efficient, faster, and quicker to get from point A to point B. And that's what I'm trying to figure out is what is that key factor. You know, I appreciate the ramps, the not having to kneel, they already have a ticket or whatever. Is there any plans, or have they done this in other locations? Dedicated lanes, dedicated light signaling as far as the bus coming up.
Yeah, so we've been working alongside the mayor president's office as far as traffic signal prioritization. So as the bus gets closer to the light, if it's green, it'll stay green, similar to what I believe is currently offered the EMS. So we're working to ensure that that's installed. It's actually part of the process and the package for bus rapid transit. And then also the dedicated vehicles that will be only solely for bus rapid transit in that 9-mile corridor, ensuring that we continue to meet the 15-minute headways in which we're scheduling for.
Okay, great. I can't wait to see how successful it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Yes, sir. Just want to say that it's great. It's great, getting greater. And, you know, just like anything else, there are some areas that we still working on. But I am so grateful that the board members now get into a point of understanding their function as governance and not micromanaging the operation of the organization. Also, it was mentioned about getting board members there, and we had conversation about this. And so, getting bogged down with different entities, I just want to make sure that we're mindful of that. I believe that a bus rider ought to be a part of the board. They ride the bus, they know it. As a matter of fact, we're choosing our Theo here. We had a bus rider on the team, which was very, very well. I mean, it was an intricate part. And so I just want to put that out there. And so two other things is that the ongoing training for bus drivers, and the employees is of utmost importance there. And so that's another area that's being worked on. And the last is that we always talk about employing local young people. This is the epitome of that happened. And Theo is a local young man that had been at CATS, and the epitome of starting at the bottom, now he's here. And so that is definitely something, and doing a marvelous job. So kudos to both of you for this presentation. And I mean, I don't expect anything any different, just better. Thank you. And Melissa, she's the money lady.
Councilman Gode.
Thank you. Theo, it's more of an operational question that I have. I heard you reference y'all are looking to eliminate unsafe stops. I'll share with you one of the questions that I get very often is, why aren't all of the shelters covered? And would that be an advertising or partnership opportunity for CATS to have advertisements on the covered part of the shelter? So my ultimate question is, do y'all do a comprehensive look at all of the bus stops, the status of them, whether they're covered or uncovered? And is there any sort of plan working towards shelters for every bus stop?
Great question, Councilman. Based on our service standards, we had over 1,500 stops in our service. It's entirely too many stops to have too many shelters out there. Our service standards dictate, based on ridership, what amenities are allowed at a bus stop, whether that's a bus bench, whether that's a bus shelter. And then also right-of-way determines if we can actually put a bus shelter there or a bus bench in that matter. So under the consent decree, which we are now mandated to make sure all our bus stops are ADA accessible, we are removing the unsafe ones, which we should have done a long time ago, because I know you've seen them on ditches, on the side of the roads, not connected to sidewalks. So that's our top priority. And then secondly, once we remove those unsafe stops, we are taking a very conservative look based on our data in regards to what stops based on ridership warrant a bus bench or a bus shelter. And we do have some funding allocated, and we're looking at some private-public partnerships for additional shelters that entity may come in and do some advertising. I'm sure you're quite aware of the bus benches that we've been dealing with, so we're trying to work through that as well. But again, based on our service standards, we'll determine if a shelter is warranted there. But most importantly, we want to make sure that we only have stops at the safest locations throughout our system.
Thank you, Theo. I appreciate your information. Thank y'all for the presentation.
Councilwoman Banks.
Yes, Theo, thank you very much. When you mentioned about the planning for the bus benches and shelters, in previous administration, there was very little conversation with the particular council members. So there were some beautiful shelters placed in some areas, and then we had to call cats back to remove them for one reason or the other. For instance, one was in front of a liquor store. I don't think they need that kind of security, you know. And then the other was in front of a lot of dilapidated buildings. So, and then I wanted to know if because I'm thinking about one of the busiest areas we have is near the Scotlandville Plaza. Yep. Scotlandville and Swan, and there are two things that I noticed in that area that bother me. One is the students, it appears, I only see them once they're there, but apparently Southern University students are walking from off campus to the shelter, to the bus stop. So the one question is along Swan, let's just say from the nursing building to Cross Scenic to the plaza, is there a bus stop? Or, because why are the kids walking from the campus that far?
To answer that question, I'll just fast forward to what we're going to do moving forward. I've already been in communication with Southern University to resume service back at the Mini Dome. My biggest concern was those students are playing chicken crossing the road, as well as the passengers. So we're still going to service that Scotland Square Plaza area, but we are anticipating resuming service in January with this service change back at the Mini Dome.
Okay, so that's where the other stop was. Was it on the Harding side or the Swan side?
Swan side, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I hope so. Is it possible, Swan on Swan, or was it where they walked closer to, because the Dome is far from the street as well. And it appears that the students probably live on the other end of town, yep. So when they leave with a whole lot of, I guess enough to keep them for 8 hours. So it's really a concern because I see the big bags, and also many of them are not familiar with our community. I'm always wondering about their safety and just those things. So if we could just kind of have a little conversation regarding that, and as Councilwoman Coleman, I do think that maybe a meeting with the students that ride the bus to find out how to best serve them in a more convenient way. And then the other question as it relates to Scotlandville Plaza, since I know funding may not always meet, is that Scotlandville Plaza is one of the Move BR projects. So they're redoing it, but also it's along that Scotlandville Parkway with brick. And so I would hate for us to not, again, be in collaboration where we do a lot, then you put there, or you do it, and then we have to move it because of the so we have an architect that we've assigned. So I was wondering if I could connect you all so that could maybe be included in the plans.
I'd be very appreciative.
Okay, I'll make sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Darazan.
Hello. We would just like to thank you for taking the time out to come and present to us. We thank you for the services that you render to our constituents. We want to commend and applaud your executive staff and your board and the collaboration with this board on the needs of our constituents. I thank you for your vision and including new features, your scheduling, as well as new technology to keep that door closed as much as we can for safety reasons and to make the flow of entering and exiting those vehicles in a efficient and proficient manner. And we just want to thank you for balancing budgetary needs as well as the service and these features all together. So we commend you again and thank you for your service to the people.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Report has been received. Councilwoman Amorosa is not here. Who wants to take it? Motion to adjourn by Councilman Hudson. Thank y'all. Do we have an announcement? Yes.
I have
Councilman
an-
Darazan. No, you're good. Announcement time.
Well, very,
Go ahead.
very efficient today. Thank you.
Can't
At
imagine
the
it was
Martin Luther
different.
King Center in District 7, we have a service of BRG Care on the Go, a mobile medical unit with a doctor, a nurse, and associated medical staff. It's a mobile unit, an RV mobile unit, fully staffed with medical equipment, a breed between a doctor's office and an emergency room, floor plan. We welcome walk-ins. You can call for appointments. All ages are accepted. And it's every Monday. The mobile unit is on site every Monday, 9 to 12 o'clock at the Martin Luther King Center on Gus Young. For more information, you can call 225-763-4500, or you can visit online at brgeneral.org. Care on the Go. This is available to all of our constituents in District 7. It's available in District 7. We take walk-ins, and I believe that other folks in other districts can come over and get these services as well. We take care of high-level medical conditions, and so we're excited to be able to offer this type of service to our people. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else have an announcement?
Yeah, don't forget our Zydeco hockey team starts next Thursday. If you haven't got your tickets yet, get some.
That's right. All right. Thank y'all for your continued service. Remember, serve your family, serve your communities. First and foremost, serve God. Thank you. God bless.